I was diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 26. Or was it 25? Currently 26. And I was diagnosed fairly recently. If you can hear panting, by the way, I have a very hot dog. Just here. I don't mean hot in like a fucking bestiality sense. Not that anyone was thinking that. But yeah, I was diagnosed with ADHD fairly recently. And I, like probably many other people, didn't really know that I had ADHD until someone said, "Oh, I think you've got ADHD." And I was like, "Oh, really? I don't know about that, mate." And then I did some research and went down the rabbit hole, and every single thing I came up against online, not really came up against, but found online was like, yep, 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 yep. And so I applied through the NHS to go on the waiting list, and like everyone else, was waiting about 2 years, gave up, made an impulsive purchase, which was an ADHD assessment, put it on a credit card, and got diagnosed. And I'm making this video because I think that's normally how it goes. Like, most of us probably showed symptoms when we were younger, but nobody really paid attention. It was just like, oh, he's a bit hyperactive, or he's a bit stupid, or he forgets stuff. And that's kind of how it's been for me throughout my entire life. Like, all these comments of like, oh, what are you like? You know, oh, you might forget that. I know what you're like. Oh, every time AJ leaves the house, he forgets something 4 times and then has to fucking keep coming back. And those are the funny bits of it. But then it's also questions of, why do I keep going out, getting blackout fucking drunk, doing drugs, and wanting to kill myself the next day, but then doing it again and again and again? Why is he smoking 20 cigarettes a day? Why is he addicted to going out and trying to shag? Why can't he hold down a job for more than 3 months? Why is he in 4 grand of debt for shit that he didn't even need? Examples including camera gear, a trip to Thailand, a fucking all singing, all dancing new Mac Pro super duper computer that I spent 4 grand on and sold within 6 months because I didn't need it. My brain is never, ever, ever silent. There are about 8, 10 different trains of thought running at the same time that I couldn't even explain to you. I've had insomnia for my entire life, addiction issues, forgetfulness, boredom in jobs that have led me to quit, even when things were going well. A sheer inability to focus on anything, going on massive tangents when I talk and then forgetting what I was even going to say. Finding it insanely difficult to listen to people without interrupting. That's one that I don't interrupt people because it's been so deeply ingrained in me not to. But trying not to is fucking hard. Or if I'm in a bar or a cafe and there's stuff going on around me, I have no chance of focusing on whatever I'm doing because my brain's just like picking up on all of these things. Which, you know, were we back in the fucking jungles as cavemen, would probably be pretty useful. I think the ADHD guys would have been the ones seeing the saber-tooths in the bushes or spotting the fucking little patch of blueberries that everyone else missed because we're too busy fucking looking around at everything all of the time. So I think it has its like evolutionary advantages, but what good is that now? I don't know. I'll go on to that in a sec if I remember. But you're probably wondering, okay, yeah, you know, I relate to all of that. How did you get diagnosed? Well, I just went online and found the cheapest, well, was it the cheapest? One of the cheapest companies I could find that sounded like the real deal. They were called Harley Psychiatrists, and I paid about 800 quid for 3 phone calls, each about 45 minutes long, where they ultimately assessed me. The first one was like a pre-assessment, second one was a psychological assessment, the third one was a psychiatrist. So they do actually diagnose you with a legitimate psychiatrist. Were they any good? Yeah, I mean, they ticked the box for me and explained my problems, but from that point on, I haven't heard anything from them. They did leave at the bottom of a big long report information saying that I needed to book an ECG so they could give me meds. I obviously forgot, called them and I was like, hey, what's going on? They were like, you need to send your ECG. I was like, oh, okay. Forgot again, and there was like no follow-up, which, to be honest, I mean, there's a reason why I forgot, that reason being the one that you are fully aware of now that you've diagnosed me. So you'd think there'd maybe be slightly better aftercare, but there wasn't. Nonetheless, during the process, the diagnosis was thorough and formal, and you know, I got the answer I guess I was looking for, because for years I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Am I Do I have bipolar? Have I got just anxiety? Am I depressed? Am I just an alcoholic? Like, what is the issue? And I think that's normally how it goes. We go through all of these different possible explanations only to arrive at the one that makes sense. But we disregard the ADHD one because everyone fucking has it. Everyone on TikTok, everyone on Instagram, everyone on YouTube thinks they have ADHD. So we kind of discredit it ourselves as a possible explanation because we're fearful of being just another one of those fucking, oh, I've got it, I've got it. And those people that claim they've got it but don't know think that it's like cool or quirky. They think that having it somehow is like some kind of fun personality trait. But anybody who actually has ADHD, I bet you wishes they don't. It's not fun, it's not quirky. Yeah, it might lead to like silly little mistakes every now and then that make people laugh, but okay, whoop-de-doo. What about the fucking crippling insomnia and addiction and everything else that comes with it? People forget that. And because this fucking fly, man, because what do you want? Because everyone thinks they have it and everyone's aware that everyone thinks they have it. And most people think that it's caused by Instagram and TikTok. No one really takes it seriously. Like they don't. No one really gives you any kind of leeway for the dumb mistakes you might make. Nobody really, gives you a sort of pass in the same way that they might if you were autistic or something else, which is challenging. I don't really have any advice on that front, and I'm not saying we should use it as an excuse. I'm just saying you kind of can't anyway. By the way, I'm drinking a 0% beer because I'm 6 weeks sober. 7. Made a video on that, you should check it out. But yeah, where am I now since the diagnosis? I'd say just having that awareness of it has made things easier. It gives me at least a little bit of fucking solace in the fact that I'm not just completely fucked up and my brain doesn't work and maybe I'm just a full-blown. Can I say that? Probably not, might beep that out. Maybe you can lip read. And that in itself kind of brings me some peace, I suppose. It also gives me something tangible to work on and read about and maybe find supplements for. Can make another video on that, although I always forget to take my supplements, so not the best example. But the problems obviously still persist. I chose not to get medicated. It's not something I'm like hardline against. Maybe I'll try it at some point in the future. But for now, I'm reluctant to take anything that might suppress my positive thinking patterns. Of course, there are negative ones too, but I feel maybe there are ways that ADHD enables me to connect better with people because of those tangents I go on. It means that I'm able to do this where I can hit record and speak for 10 minutes and not feel like I'm running out of ideas. It means there are lots of ideas. It also means they're very hard to pinpoint and actually use or even follow through with because I get distracted, but at least they're there. And for now, I'm leaning more towards trying to find a way to harness what people call a superpower, a little bit skeptical on that, rather than silence it altogether. I still do struggle with addiction. As I said, I'm 7 weeks sober. I wasn't like a raging fucking alcoholic, but it was the kind of weekend drinker that didn't know when to stop. Still have these little bastards, snus, nicotine, the highest strength I could buy in the co-op. But again, something I'm looking to quit. That's another thing with ADHD is that you don't really do anything by halves. So rather than trying to sensibly quit one thing at a time, I unsensibly try and quit everything all at the same time and inevitably fail because it's too much. And then one habit slips and then the rest follows suit. But again, I'm learning how to approach things step by step, starting with alcohol, then nicotine, rather than throwing the fucking kitchen sink at everything all of the time. So since the diagnosis, since being aware of all of this stuff, it is easier to kind of navigate it in a way that makes sense for me. But yeah, that's more or less it. I can make more videos on this subject. Don't worry, I definitely am aware that there are people out there that will be watching this thinking ADHD doesn't fucking exist, it's a modern illness and we invented it and actually you just use TikTok too much. Fully aware of that. Maybe that's true. I don't know. It's one of the questions I asked the psychiatrist. She said it's not. But again, kind of hard to know when you're paying them. Whether or not that is true doesn't really matter. This is the reality of my experience. And I can at least find ways to cope with it rather than complaining about it. So that's me. I've got another clingy dog here now. This one's called Miko. And he's trying to be friends with Lily, but she don't want to fucking know. He's 6 weeks old. She's like 10 years old. But he's cute. We love him. She doesn't. Anyway, my brothers and sisters, ADHD 101. There you go. Enjoy. If you have any similar experiences, do comment them below. We can help each other, we can talk about it, and I'm always here if you want to reach out in the DMs with whatever questions, answers, you tell me. If you enjoyed this, I'll be making more videos about ADHD, but also just self-improvement in general without all like the wishy-washy bollocks, and just kind of straight talking my experiences and what I've learned. So hit subscribe, and if you do, then I'll see you next time. My brother.